Hey guys, it's Jenna. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am coming at you with the mid-year book freakout tag or mid-year freakout book tag. Either way, I'm very excited to do this video because I've never actually done it before. I've been on BookTube since December of 2016 and I still have not yet done the mid-year book freakout tag or whatever it's supposed to be called. I will link the original tag video down below, but let's just get started because it's kind of a long one. So if you're unfamiliar, you probably are very familiar with this. Hopefully you're not tired of watching these already. This book tag asks you to kind of review your reading midway through any given year. So the first question asks me, what is the best book of 2018 so far in your opinion? And I'm going with Echo by Pam Munoz-Ryan. This is a middle grade historical fiction, magical realism kind of story with just like a sprinkle of fantasy in there. It was fantastic, a definite 5-star read for me. If you are questioning whether or not you would like to try middle grade, definitely go for this book. Even if you think you don't really like middle grade, I would still recommend this to absolutely everyone. The writing was spectacular. The storytelling was amazing. You get these 3 children's perspectives at different points throughout World War II, like towards the beginning, kind of in the middle of it, and then towards the end. One boy is from Germany, one is from the New York area, and another little girl is from California, I want to say. And we follow all their perspectives and they all tie in just magically at the end. Highly recommend. The best sequel that I've read in 2018 is probably going to have to be Royal Assassin by Robin Hobb. I just finished this last week or earlier on this week. No, it was last week. Doesn't matter. Anyway, I loved it. It was just fantastic. This series is definitely character driven. It's a little bit slow and it took me a hot minute to get used to that style and her Robin Hobb's style of writing in the first book, which I ended up giving it 4 stars, which is not a bad rating, but this one got 5 stars because it just felt more polished. I mentioned this in my recent reads video, the last video I posted. So if you want more details about my thoughts on this, definitely go check that out. But just know that I love this one even more than the first, and I'm very excited to continue on with the series. A new release I still want to read. Oh, I want to read this so bad and I keep putting it off for whatever reason, and that is The Queens of Innis Lear by Tessa Gratton. This is a beautiful, just huge hardback. Not really as far as length, but just like it's really, really big. Anyway, this is a fantasy retelling of King Lear by William Shakespeare, a play that I absolutely love and I've always been intrigued by, and I just cannot wait to get into this. I haven't heard hardly anybody talk about their thoughts on this book. I've seen a lot of people talk about it as far as an anticipated release. I've seen it in some hauls, but I haven't heard anybody's thoughts on it yet. So let me know if you've read this, what you've thought. I just have a feeling I'm going to love this. I have a feeling I'm going to give it 5 stars, but we will see. I think I'm supposed to be buddy reading this with Brittany. Aren't we buddy reading this together? I'm pretty sure. That's my new release I still want to read. I think it came out in March. The next question is your most anticipated release for the remainder of the year, and I'm going with Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas. This is going to be the 7th and final book in the Throne of Glass series. Probably don't need to say anything about it other than it's a YA fantasy series following a female assassin and all of her adventures. There's amazing side characters, and there's just so much has happened. So much has happened. It's fun. It's not amazing as far as like quality goes, but Tower of Dawn did get 5 stars from me recently. I really enjoyed that one. The biggest disappointment that I read in 2018, well, it's a tie between The Hazelwood by Melissa Albert, which I gave 2 stars after DNFing like 75% of the way through. And I have to say, unfortunately, A Wrinkle in Time by Madeleine L'Engle. I did not enjoy either one of these books. I actually finished A Wrinkle in Time and I didn't hate it. It was way too out there for me. Just not my cup of tea. As far as the Hazelwood, I was even more disappointed in this one because I honestly thought it was going to be right up my alley. This is a YA urban fantasy book involving this girl whose grandmother is this famous author of this fairy tale anthology, I think. And she goes missing, so the granddaughter tries to find her. She winds up being like sucked into the world that her grandmother created in her books. And then everything goes kind of really trippy from there, and that's when I put it down. I just could not do it anymore. The 2018's biggest surprise, I have to go with The Wicked Deep by Shay Earnshaw. This was very, very surprising. It definitely was my biggest surprise. I was not expecting to like it as much as I did. This is it's a YA fantasy, urban fantasy, sort of. It gave me a lot of Twilight vibes based on its setting. It's set in Oregon, Pacific Northwest, in a fictional town known as Sparrow, and it involves these 3 witches that were drowned back in the 1800s, I want to say. It's been a few months. And every summer, the spirits of these 3 witches inhabit these high school girls, and a bunch of boys end up being drowned every summer. And it's just kind of this town's curse for what they did to these 3 women who weren't actually really witches. So it's this whole thing, and it's kind of dramatic and a little bit angsty, but it just worked for me. I absolutely loved it. It was very atmospheric. I thought the writing was really good. The characters were really well developed for as short of a novel as it was, and it just really surprised me. I gave it 4 stars, I believe, or 4.5. Next up is favorite new author, and I have to go with, I have to pull it back out. I have to go with Robin Hobb. I went back and forth with her, like I said, on the first book, but I am definitely into her style now. I've caught on, and I can tell she's going to be one of my favorite authors, absolutely, for sure. There's just something about the way that she crafts her worlds and her characters that just completely captivates me and draws me in. So I just have to say, even though I've only read 2 books by her so far, I can definitely tell she's going to be a favorite. Next up is your newest fictional crush, and this one was kind of hard for me. I don't really have fictional crushes anymore. I used to when I was reading a little bit more YA rather than adult. But now that I'm reading more adult novels, I just find that, and as I'm growing older, I just find that I don't really have fictional crushes anymore. I don't know, but if I absolutely had to choose, I have a couple from the Queen of the Tearling series. One is Penn Alcott, I think his last name is. He is one of the Queen's guards, and I just picture him as being very attractive. He's really, really nice, very attentive to Queen Kelsey and all her needs. And I don't know, I picture Penn as being like my guy in the series if I had to choose one. The fetch in this series is also very intriguing, although I'm not really like attracted to him as far as like the choices that he makes throughout the series. He just kind of gets a little strange there towards the end, especially when you get flashbacks on what happened in the past. And then also the Mace in this series as well. His real first name is Lazarus. He is the captain. Wait, is he the captain? I can't remember. He's also part of Queen Kelsey's guard, and he's just super wise, and he's a little older. But I don't know. I'm just attracted to those 3 guys. Those 3 guys stood out in my mind as to who I could possibly have a crush on. Next up is newest favorite character from any books you've read this year, and I have to go with Clay from the Wings of Fire series. And Clay is a dragon, and he is a sweetheart, and he's just like a little puppy but in a dragon form. He's just so sweet. All he thinks about is food and protecting his friends. He's so brave and he's so sweet. I just love Clay. I love him so much. Next question is pick a book that made you cry, and I have to go with Wish Tree by Katherine Applegate, another middle grade that I read very recently. I actually teared up at the end, which happens very, very rarely for me when I'm reading. This is a middle grade book. Like I said, it follows a tree named Red. He's a red oak tree, and you get his perspective as he just hangs out in this neighborhood, and you get to know his animal friends that kind of nest and find their homes in his branches, and you see this neighborhood through Red's eyes, and there's a conflict between some neighbors, and it's just, it's all brought together so nicely at the end, and there's just like this heartwarming ending that just really made me tear up. The next question is to pick a book that made you happy, and I'm going with Nevermore, The Trials of Morrigan Crow by Jessica Townsend, another middle grade book. I find that middle grade tends to bring out the strongest emotions in me when I'm reading. It either makes me very, very happy, very joyful, or very, very sad. It's like the young adult books and the adult books, I kind of like ride the line as far as like happy and sad. I'm just kind of in the middle, but middle grade, it's just something about it brings out the extreme emotions for me, happy or sad. So Nevermore was just so fun. I know it's hyped on BookTube. It's a fantasy novel. A lot of people have compared it to Harry Potter, myself included. But specifically, when I compare it to Harry Potter, I talk about the feelings that I got whenever I read it. The story is not similar at all, except for the fact that the two main protagonists are 11 when the series begins, and then they get whisked off to this magical world, and there is a magical school involved as well. But as far as other than that, there's really no similarities to Harry Potter in my opinion. It just made me feel the same way. Like, I remember reading the first Harry Potter book, and I got some of those same feelings reading Nevermore. So Nevermore definitely made me the happiest. The next question is to pick your favorite book to movie adaptation. And I am going with, specifically for picking like a book to TV adaptation. If that counts, I'm going with Big Little Lies. I highly enjoyed both the book and the TV series this year. I just thought they were super atmospheric, so fun, so suspenseful, and the writing was just so smart and witty. I loved it. I loved both book and the TV series. As far as a movie goes, I really enjoyed The Glass Castle by Jeanette Walls. I did enjoy the book more than the movie, obviously, but just because we got a lot more details about her life. This is a memoir, definite true story about Jeanette Walls' eccentric and tragic childhood. The movie I thought was very well done. Brie Larson played Jeanette Walls and Woody Harrelson played her dad, and I thought they both did remarkable jobs with the characters, or with the people. But still, I remember watching the movie with my husband, and he even commented that he just really enjoyed the movie, and it actually made him want to read the book too. The next question it asks you to pick a favorite review that you've written for a book, or to talk about a favorite video you've done if you have a BookTube channel. And the favorite video that I've done so far this year would be my reading log that I posted last month. It was called like a chatty May/June reading vlog, and I talked about my experiences reading Assassin's Apprentice as well as Big Little Lies. And it was a week-long vlog. It was like 35 or 38 minutes long, something crazy like that. But I had such a fun time filming it for you guys. I really want to do more reading vlogs in the future. I just find that it works much better with my schedule than sitting down and filming like more formal style videos. So be on the lookout for more reading vlogs from me. Next question is it asks you to pick the most beautiful book that you got so far this year. And it's a tie between the beautiful Farsi trilogy books, which are just absolutely stunning, and of course, I'm stealing this answer from a lot of people, Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. This book is just so incredibly beautiful. It was so well designed, and the map is beautiful on the inside. The naked hardback is absolutely stunning. I just love everything about it. I'm really glad that I actually bought the physical hardcover copy so I can actually own it, rather than just like checking it out from the library. It was stunning. And I gave this book 4.5 or 5 stars. Really enjoyed this one too. And then the last question asks you to name the books that you still need to read before the end of 2018. I have a bunch that have just been on my mind. The first one I don't own yet because I don't know what's going on with this book. It's not released in the US yet. It's been released in the UK, but in the US it's going to be under a different title. I don't really know. But the book as it is right now is called The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. When it's released to the US, however, I've heard that the title is going to be changed to The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. I don't know. And I'm blanking on the author's name right now, but I'll put up a picture so you can see it. This book sounds so intriguing. It follows this man as he tries to solve the death of this woman named Evelyn Hardcastle, and he gets to go back in time to where this murder occurred at this dinner party or some sort. But when he goes back in time, he's in a different person's body each time. And he only has like 24 hours to figure it out. And it just sounds super, super cool. It's like Agatha Christie meets sci-fi or something. It sounds so great. And Emily Fox has raved about it. Teresa from Ivy Muse has said really good things about it as well. And the premise of that book just sounds so incredibly cool. I'm really excited for it. As far as books that I own that I want to get to, the first one, I've been talking about it quite a bit recently, and I just can't get it out of my head. I really want to read The Demon King by Cinda Williams-Chima. This is the first book in the Seven Realms YA fantasy series. It's been around for a while, and I've just wanted to get to it for so long, and I just keep putting it off. The next two are both first books in a fantasy series that I want to get to. This one being The Furies of Calderon, or Calderon, I don't really know, by Jim Butcher. This is the first book in the Codex Alera series. And this is technically a mass market paperback, but it's floppy. I don't know what it is about this book. It's just, I don't know, I kind of like it. I normally don't like mass market paperbacks. Who really does? But this one's kind of floppy than they usually are, so. Anyway, next up, again, like I said, first book in a fantasy series. I really want to get to The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. This is the first book in the Mistborn trilogy. And I've just heard, it's just incredible, the amount of wonderful things that I've heard about this book. I will get to it. I will get to it, guys. I promise. You don't need to tell me anymore. I promise I'm going to get to this, and I will read it before the end of the year. I definitely will. Definitely. And then the last book that I really would like to get to continue on with this series is Anne of Avonlea by L.M. Montgomery. This is just a beautiful edition. I have a whole set of the first 8 Anne books in this beautiful box set. And I just really want to continue on. I love Anne of Green Gables so much, and I just don't really know why I haven't continued on with the series. We will see. So that was the mid-year book Freakout tag. I hope you enjoyed it. A lot of people have been doing this recently, so I'm not gonna tag anybody officially, but if you who are watching right now have not done this tag yet and you want to, I tag you. So go ahead and do it. I missed my chance last year because by the time I compiled my answers, it was already like August or something, and then it was like definitely not halfway through the year anymore. So I'm doing it now. I've finally done it. Yay, I can say I've done this tag. So I just really like this tag. So like I said, I hope you enjoy this. I'll see you guys very soon with another video. Bye.